Terri-Jean Bedford joined us weeks ago on the program to talk about the landmark court ruling. Justice Susan Himmel of the Ontario Superior Court last year issued a landmark ruling finding 3 provisions in Canada's criminal code to deal with prostitution unconstitutional. Immediately, the feds and everybody else who was in a snit about that launched an appeal and won a series of stays. The Ontario Court of Appeal hearing the case in June and still deliberating that. Osgoode Hall law professor Alan Young argued the case on behalf of Terri-Jean Bedford and her associates. Terri-Jean Bedford, also famous for the Dominatrix case of the 90s. And she promised us when her book came out that she would join us on the program. It's called Dominatrix on Trial. It's the memoir of Terri-Jean Bedford. Hello, Terri-Jean.
Hi, Larry. Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming back. So good to talk to you again.
Oh, likewise.
The book is on shelves, about to be on shelves. Tell me the exact position of Dominatrix on Trial.
Well, I sure will, Larry. I'm going to sound my horn a little bit, okay?
Sure do, yes.
Well, it's a 261-page book that's very hard to put down. It's absolutely great. I've been told by the publishers that it's exceeding expectations. It's a series of, my story is a series of one adversity after another. It is on the bookshelves. You can get it at Chapters, Indigo, Amazon.com, or you can visit dominatrixontrial.com and follow the links, and you can follow my blog for updates on the challenge.
The Dominatrix on Trial, name of the book, describes 2 really important parts of your life, but you go back before that. You go back to a personal life, starting out all of that.
I was born in Collingwood, Ontario in 1959. My parents I'm from a mixed race. My father's African and my mother's French, Dutch, and English. I was removed by the Children's Aid at age 6. I suffered abuse as a foster child, and I became a wild teenager. I was cut loose by the Children's Aid at 16, and I became an addict and a prostitute, and then later a dominatrix. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've overcome a lot of adversity. I'm now making contributions as a citizen and seeking justice for all victims in this case.
The dominatrix part, by the way, goes back to mid-90s, 94, September, you say in the book, right? That was when the arrest was on keeping the common body house, which you argued, of course.
Oh, yes. That was quite a long process, Larry. I was charged in 1994 with keeping a common body house. And the first judge quashed the case. He said there was no basis for the charges. However, the Crown Attorney appealed, and that sought off a series of appeals and trips to the Supreme Court and back again. And finally, we had a trial, and the judge in the end decided that I was guilty. He didn't really say what I was guilty of. He gave a decision that no one could understand. I opened up another business regardless of the decision in downtown Toronto. There was no problem. The police were welcome at any time to come. We had an open house and invited the police and the media, and Alan Young wrote a letter to the chief of police, but there was never any incident. And it's all detailed in the book. I really encourage everyone to read the book. It's a real eye-opener. It's going to make people angry about how the laws treat women. It's a roller coaster of emotions in this book.
Now, actually, when we talk about the body house, you make that distinction for people who haven't read your book or heard you speak of catering to men and women who want to act out adult fantasies, that no sex or sexual acts happen, and there's nothing that would fit the description of indecent, right?
Correct, Larry. People come to me to act out fantasy role play, and there's many variations on what that entails and requires props and costumes and setting and characters. just like a play, Larry. And it's a very esoteric and tactile, so there's a lot of hands-on, as you can imagine. And I facilitate people with paraphilias, fetishes, that include fetishes. There's 750 variations, and I cater to most of them except those that harm myself or others.
Sure, okay, that makes sense to me.
But that encompasses fetishism, cross-dressing, flagellation, corporal discipline, you name it. There's quite a gamut. Swatting flies.
Say what? Is that a euphemism, or is that actually
well, you'll
something?
read in my book, Larry, about a client that liked to pretend he was a fly, and I would chase him around the house with a fly swatter. There's a few scenarios in there that I like to draw people's attention to if they want to get an understanding of what it is that I do. There's also the straitjacket man, the floor tile man, the fart man. Gentlemen would like to follow me around on my hands and knees for the most part of the afternoon, waiting for me to fart. And every time I farted, he paid me $150. Just innocent. There's no sex.
I understand. I was just wondering how you would prepare for that
but
day.
It's a lot of fun.
I know how I would.
I tear down a lot of walls in my book, and I hope open up people to a new opinion of me and what it is that I do as a dominatrix. I don't want them to think that it's all about leather and pain. It's not. There's quite a few other elements that people find quite satisfying.
If we could come back and talk a little bit more about your beginnings and how tough it was for you to go back to those painful childhood and early teen years, because you survived it. So I do want to talk about that part, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll be back with Terri-Jean Bedford. The book is called Dominatrix on Trial. It is out now. We'll talk more about that in a moment. On the telephone with Terri-Jean Bedford. Her new book is called Dominatrix on Trial. Terri-Jean, the dominatrix part, we've covered a lot. The trial, this is ongoing, and I know you have promised to go to the Supreme Court of Canada if that's what it takes.
That's right.
What is, let's go back to the beginning, if you don't mind. It's in the book. Here you are, you're abused as a foster child, you become this crazy wild teen, you turn to prostitution. How did you survive? I mean, how did you live? How did you turn out to be this person fighting the good fight for a cause? Is there a moment that turned for you where you said, I got to get my life together?
Oh, yeah. There was an epiphany, all right.
Probably a few, but anyway.
Well, Larry, you know what? I think that because I'm a hard-headed woman, that's always worked against me and for me. When I look back over my life, I'm often hurt and ashamed of some of the things I've done. But as I worked on the memoirs, I realized also that my life hasn't been a waste. There are people that came into my life after the raid that I talk about in the book called The Dozen. And they're 9 men and 3 women. None of them are lawyers, but they're courageous. Their generosity and support and loyalty and financial support helped me to survive and help save the life of my daughter and my grandchild. There's so many important things people have to know about what I've gone through over the last 25 years. These citizens, the Dozen, they're outstanding citizens of the highest caliber. I can't say enough about them. And then there are the heroes in my life that have helped me overcome a lot of adversity. There's a police officer and his wife in Windsor. There's been numerous social workers and halfway house workers and boardrooms full of lawyers and activists, the media, including yourself, Larry, and Scott, who was a client at the time of the raid but became my mentor and loyal friend. He also took on the position of chief trial coordinator. He's been my benefactor, and I'm so grateful to him. I gave him the movie and book rights to.
Wow.
Yes, I can't repay these people enough for all they've done. So despite what I've been through in the past, I've been restored, Larry.
Well, this is interesting because you didn't turn, like many people do, to a religion, an organized religion. As a matter of fact, I read a quote that you said, I'm the goddess, my inside goddess. That's who I found.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, you can have faith that a door is going to open and you don't have to get up and open it, or you can get up and open it. It's better if you get up and open it. I believe that there are higher powers, but I believe that we have the higher power. It starts with us, and if you get up and open the door and walk through it, amazing things can happen. You can't sit there and wait for someone else to do it.
Was it difficult to go back to the beginnings? And I'm sure you never forgot it, but I mean, relive that memory and put it on a page for others to see. Was that good for you? Was that bad for you to do that? How did you feel?
It can be quite therapeutic. It can be an exercise in truth and honesty. Yes, the original idea was to write the book in 4 volumes, and my early life would be an entire book. There's so much to tell, but what we decided was that 1 book would be enough, so we scaled it down. And I've told the important parts, but there's a lot more pain and agony that people don't need to know about. All they need to know is that there's suffering and there's the overcoming of it.
Mm-hmm. And because life goes on and you've got so many things like pending, this fight continues. I mean, real life chapters are being added, if you will, to this book in a way. Well,
the worst thing that has happened to me, Larry, is the 25 years of subjugation to bad laws. I've been in the sex trade industry for 25 years, maybe more, I think 30. But starting in 86, I was raided in Windsor, and I went to jail for 15 months, and then followed by other busts because I had to try to put my life back together, clothes, apartment, etc., and things weren't coming together as quickly as I had hoped. So I have quite an extensive criminal record relating to prostitution charges that I'm trying to get a pardon for as we speak.
The last time, and we're almost out of time now, but the last time we talked, we sort of ended on a note about how you were feeling, just your health. And you talked about some of that maybe coming out in the book. Is your health okay? Are you doing all right? You feeling okay generally?
Yeah. I have good days and bad days, but my disposition is quite cheerful at all times. I don't try to bring anybody down with all the things that I'm going through physically. What matters most is that I stay happy and alive and well spiritually. I'm good. I'm not good physically, but I'm good mentally and spiritually. At times I lack stamina and concentration. For example, interviews are tough, but I like to get through it. I like to do them.
Well, I think interviews are one of your strong suits, and I thank you for doing this with us, Terri-Jean. Dominatrix on Trial is the book. It's out there. I hope it's a terrific bestseller for you. Do you have any idea who you would like to play you in the movie?
Well, can I just say one more thing about my book first?
Sure, yes.
It has 3 awards already, Larry. It has Editor's Choice and 2 Rising Star Awards, one from my publishers at iUniverse and one from Barnes & Noble.
Nice.
And what was that last question, Larry?
Well, did you have anybody in mind who could play you in the movie?
Yes. Well, I have Halle Berry as a young, immature me.
Okay, good.
I think Queen Latifah as the dominatrix persona, and Oprah as Grandma.
What a cast. I'm going.
We have a lot of similar ideas and philosophy. I like Oprah.
Dominatrix on Trial, Terri-Jean Bedford. Thank you.